Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. We are on the 15th day of the Advent Renew Your Mind Challenge. Hopefully, you have been following along and really diving into what it is that God is doing in your life through this season as we're drawing near to Him, expectant to what He is going to do in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirit. So, we had a really in-depth challenge and really good teaching on the vagus nerve the other night, and hopefully you guys have been trying to put some of that into practice. Today I want to dive into something that I think is amazing for what God has planned for us. um, really how compassion changes our brain. So Jesus has authority over everything that is bad. He has authority over your body, your cells, your brain, your mind. He is your hope, and He has had compassion on us all. On us all. We all have struggled. We all have sinned. We all have dealt with things in this life that He truly feels for us and truly has compassion for us. In Luke 19:41, it talks about when Jesus approaches the city and He wept for it. Um, in another spot, Jesus went through towns and villages teaching and proclaiming the good news, and He healed the sick of their diseases. And when He saw the crowds coming that were hungry for Him to do more, He had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like a sheep without a shepherd. If we truly want to have the heart and mind of Jesus, we truly need to step into His shoes. Those of a compassionate heart, a heart that yearns to see devastation rebuilt, a heart that is so powerfully loving that it drove Him to the cross as a sacrifice to save us. If you truly want to rewire your brain, we have to ask the Holy Spirit to empower us to love those around us despite our circumstances and despite how we feel. Oftentimes, we don't feel like thinking about others because we're so focused on what's going on in our own bodies and the things that are going on with us. But that is not how Christ has asked us to live. He's asked us to live with a heart that can see the hearts of others. So just start there. If you feel like you're inwardly focused on all of your trials that you're going through and you are ruminating on those, we talked about old ways of thinking. You have to first start with breaking that by acknowledging how you're thinking and then ask the Holy Spirit to empower you to love people around you despite how you feel. Compassion is a powerful emotion, and it can have such a powerful impact on the brain in a positive way. I believe that's why He wired us to be compassionate people. It activates various regions of the brain that are associated with empathy, reward, and positive emotions. So, increased activity with compassion equals increased activity in your prefrontal cortex. If you think back to the beginning teachings of Renew Your Mind Challenge, I talked about when you're in fight or flight, you only use that survival instinct, the base of your brain. You aren't fully able to think through what's going on in a logical manner. You're not using your prefrontal cortex. It overrides for survival. When you're compassionate towards someone, you increase activity in your prefrontal cortex, specifically your medial prefrontal cortex, and it's involved in empathy and understanding of emotions of others. So, compassion activates activity in that region that's going to lead to greater emotional awareness and understanding of others' perspectives. You start to actually have a heart for others. Compassion and kindness also activate the brain's reward center. And In the reward center of the brain, feel good neurotransmitters like dopamine are released, and they create positive feelings and reinforce that compassionate behavior. You get dopamine hits from lots of things in this world, but they're just short, not long lasting. Compassion gives you dopamine hit and reinforces the behavior so that you want to do that again. When you do that again, compassion counteracts the negative effects of stress on the brain. Studies have found that compassionate individuals tend to have lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol, and it helps protect the brain from damaging effects of chronic stress. It's huge. If you're compassionate and you feel for others, you understand their emotions, you're connecting with somebody else, it reduces your stress response. Engaging in compassionate acts or even witnessing compassionate acts can increase feelings of hopefulness and happiness and well being. And we know that if we are stuck in the old ways of thinking of negativity and only focusing on the bad, we know what that does to the brain. Positive associated emotions like happiness and well being are going to change the brain activity in regions related to positive affect and life satisfaction, which is going to decrease your stress, which is going to help you to see the big picture, think through things clearly. Compassion also strengthens social bonds. It fosters a sense of connection with others. Um, Positive social interactions and relationships are linked to brain changes that promote so much resiliency. And you tap into your vagus nerve when you socially connect with somebody. The vagus nerve is very closely related to all the nerves in the face. So, nerves that make you smile, have eye contact, listen to someone, those are the nerves that we use to socially connect with other people. When you engage eye contact, smiling, listening to others, you engage outwardly with people, and there is that reciprocation of that. You actually are going to strengthen your vagal tone. You're going to actually engage your parasympathetic nervous system because of how closely those nerves of social connection are to that vagus nerve. It's pretty cool. You're also going to have enhanced emotional regulation. Compassion helps regulate and balance out your emotions. This is huge because if you can have emotional self regulation, you are able to have more resiliency. You're able to adapt to stresses and challenging situations more readily without being shaken. So, when I've talked about in the past, like you have a glass, like this is how much stress you can handle. You keep pouring the stress on, you overflow, you explode. At some point, you just overflow and explode. Compassion, emotional regulation, resiliency, it doesn't take the stress away. We all are going to deal with stress, but it takes your cup and makes it bigger. So now you have a gallon jug. So it takes a lot longer for you to get to the point where you actually overflow and explode. Um, it's just so important that when you are suffering that you try to take on the mind and heart of Christ. He did suffer. He understands. So think about that today. Connect with someone, pray for someone, serve even when you don't feel like it. You'll be amazed how much better you feel afterwards. Use your giftings. If you're a gifted musician, go play in the nursing home for somebody. If you're a gifted artist, draw someone a picture. Use your giftings that you enjoy. Step out in faith and do something that you feel like God's called you to do. Your brain will increase its resiliency. Your mind and your heart will be guided by the Spirit and not your flesh, not your tiredness, not your stress, not your anxiety. It'll be guided by the Spirit. Your hormones will be impacted by that dopamine release of helping others, and you will reap the reward. So, what is one act of kindness, one act of compassion you can perform this week? Think about the fatherless, the refugee, the widow, the lonely, the one who needs to hear of Jesus' love for them. Can you put your suffering aside and step forward and think about someone else this week? That is my challenge for you. There are plenty of opportunities this time of year to be able to do that. Write it down, commit to it. Let me know what you're going to do. Let me know how it goes, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.